Welcome back. Let's talk about what is next for Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer convicted in the murder of George Floyd. He is set to be sentenced later this month on June 25th. Chauvin was convicted in April of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter for pressing his knee against Floyd's neck for nearly 9.5 minutes. Judge Peter Cahill previously ruled there were aggravating factors in Floyd's death, so that gives him the discretion to sentence Chauvin above the range recommended by state guidelines, which top out at 15 years. Prosecutors here are asking for 30 years, but in a new filing this week, Chauvin's defense is asking the judge to sentence him to probation and time served. Defense attorney Eric Nelson cited Chauvin's age, lack of a criminal record, and support from his family and friends in requesting this sentence of probation and time served. He said Chauvin was a product of a broken system. Let's discuss this development with my legal experts. Joining me again, I have criminal defense attorney Sharon Lyko and former federal prosecutor David Katz. I'm going to start with you, David, on your thoughts of the defense asking for just some time served.
Well, there are some things that a defense attorney has a duty to ask for, and given that probation is, potentially available, he wouldn't be doing his job. He'd be derelict if he didn't ask for it in former officer Chauvin's defense. And the argument for it is the argument that police officers always make in the rare cases where they're prosecuted and convicted. We go back to the Rodney King case where there was a conviction in federal court, and there were arguments there for a probationary or lesser sentence. And the argument goes like this: he's a police officer, he's a disciplined person. He'll actually abide by the conditions of probation. That on top of that, he's an older person, given the range of people in the system. Normally defendants are young. He's 45. He's had a steady job for 20 years. He'll never work as a police officer again. He continues to have family support. His family support will lead him in the direction of abiding by the conditions of probation. Having said all that, there is no chance on this earth that the judge is going to grant him probation. So he's argued in the alternative for not getting the upward enhancements that the prosecution wants. And there he has to argue against the judge's findings that he's already made, that he is susceptible to getting those enhancements because he has indeed committed aggravating circumstances, including doing this in the presence of children and doing this in a particularly cruel way, and 2 or 3 other enhancements that could apply.
Right, and let's look a little bit at this motion that Eric Nelson, he cited the pre-sentencing investigation that Chauvin had no criminal history. His score was 0. He's a product of a broken system. And like you said, Kate's life expectancy of police officers is generally shorter, he said in this motion. Chauvin preliminarily diagnosed with heart damage and the likelihood of him becoming a target in prison. Sharon, what did you make of those arguments by the defense here?
I think they're basic I have nothing else to argue type of arguments. That's going to be the story of most police officers. They're not part of the criminal element. But I think that the defense attorney, it's grasping at straws. I think I would have argued that the judge shouldn't give him an enhanced sentence, even though he found several aggravators, that it should be in the presumptive range. I think that the defense attorney arguing that he should get probation, which is a lesser sentence than in the presumptive range, is not appropriate in this case. It may be appropriate in other cases where all the mitigating factors are true, but without the judge finding aggravated factors, that takes it up a notch or 2 or 3.
For sure.
When somebody has done the acts that this man did, and in full view on video, the judge made his rulings. It's not like this motion is asking the judge to reconsider whether or not he found aggravating factors. He found aggravating factors.
Exactly. So we'll go above that range. I agree with both of you. We have to take in a quick break. We have plenty to talk about.